Sri-juta padakamalam Sri-gurum Vaishnava Sri-juta padakamalam Sri-rupam Chakraja.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome all of you for the today's morning program Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Prasadeshwar Krishna Prabhuji, and Prabhu will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto 23rd chapter verses 27 and 28. Over to you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Welcome all devotees for Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We'll start with the prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayate Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23rd, Text 27 and 28. We'll read text and translation purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Try to meditate on a few points. Then, if anything, further to add, we can discuss on that. So, we'll read from text 27. Tesham durapam kim tva anyan martyanam bhagavat padam bhuvi lolayuso yevi nishkarmyayam shadhyanti utah. Word by word meaning. Tesham, of them, durapam, difficult to attain, kim, what, tu, but, anyat, anything else, martyanam, of the human beings, bhagavat padam, the kingdom of God, in the world, lola, flickering, ayushaha, the span of life, ye, those, ve, certainly, neshkarmyam, the path of liberation, sadhayanti, execute, utha, exactly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this material world, every human being has a short span of life. But those who are engaged in devotion service go back home, back to Godhead, for they are actually on the path of liberation. For such persons, there is nothing which is not available. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9.33, Lord Krishna says, Anityam asukham loka imam prapyam bhajastva mam. The Lord here declares that this material world is full of miseries, asukham, and at the same time is very flickering, anityam. Therefore, one's only duty is to engage himself in the devotion service. This is the best end into which human life can be put. Those devotees who are constantly engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord achieve not only all material benefits, but also all spiritual benefits. For that, for for at the end of life, they go back home, back to Godhead. Their destination is described in this verse as Bhagavat Padam. The word Padam means abode. The Bhagavat means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the destination of devotees is the abode of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, the word Neshkarmyam, which means transcendental knowledge, is also significant. Unless one comes to the platform of transcendental knowledge and offers devotional service to the Lord, one is not perfect. Generally, the process of jnana, yoga, karma are executed life after life before one gets a chance to render pure devotional service to the Lord. This chance is given by the grace of a pure devotee, and it is in this way only that one can actually attain liberation. In the context of this narration, the wives of demigods repent because although they had opportunity of a birth in a higher planetary system, a lifetime spanning millions of years and all material comforts, they were not as fortunate as Pṛthu Mahārāja and his wife, who are actually surpassing them. In other words, Pṛthu Mahārāja and his wife scorned promotion to the higher planetary systems and even to the Brahmaloka because the position which they were attaining was incomparable. In Bhagavad Gita 9.16, the Lord affirms, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. From the highest planet in the material world to the lowest of all our places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. In other words, even if one goes to the higher planet Brahmaloka, he has to return to the miseries of birth and death. In the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 9.21, Lord Krishna also asserts, Te tam bhuktva swarga lokam vishalam, krishne punye martyam lokam vishanti. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, after exhausting the results of pious activities, one has to come again to the lower planetary systems and begin new chapter of pious activities. It is therefore said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 5th chapter, 12th verse, Neshkaryamapi achyuta bhava varjitam. The path of liberation is not at all secure unless one attains the devotional service of the Lord. Even if one promoted to the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, he runs every chance of falling down into this material world. If it is possible to fall down from the Brahma Jyoti, which is beyond higher planetary systems in this material world, then what can be said of the ordinary yogis and karmis who can only be elevated to the higher material planets? Thus, the wives of denizens of the higher planetary systems did not very much appreciate the results of karma and jnana yoga. Srila Prabhupada Ki, such a wonderful nectarian purport. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militamena Tasme Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Shitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before I start, like to once again welcome you all. Also thank our temple management, His Grace Mahārāja Chaitanya Prabhu, and our Nitya Bhagavata Seva team, Sankarshan Prabhu and Venkatraman others, who are giving me this opportunity to do this service. Today, I was meditating on this particular two verses. This is for me. I was really, thinking how transcendental purport Srila Prabhupada has written. And if I'm able to practice this, I think I'll be able to succeed in this life. So Prabhupada has given everything in these two purports. So we will again go back to the purport, read the purport, and we'll try to meditate on the purport, because nothing else in the little intelligence I can add. Prabhupada has given everything in this. We'll try to meditate on that. Also, I'll seek blessings of all of you so that I can speak few words for the pleasure of all the devotees and Guru Parampara, so that I don't concoct anything. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitana pavanebhyo Vishnabhyo namah Koti Vaishnava ki jai. So here the wives of demigods, denizens, they are really appreciating Pṛthu Mahārāja and his wife. How fortunate they are, because they got two things: human body and devotional service. So today we'll try to meditate on these two aspects. Again, I'm considering myself how fortunate I am. First of all, I got this human body. Second, by the mercy of Vaishnavas and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are performing devotional services in ISKCON. How fortunate I am. And Prabhupada in these two purports, he hammering after, again, how we should be serious on this. And, here said that one who does not take it seriously is doing suicide. To that extent, it said that. So we'll try to meditate on these 2 points: how important devotional service, and being the human body. Of course, and the animals, we can't expect them to, perform devotional service. It's for human devotional services, very, very, rare. So in text 27, translation is, in this material, every human being has a short span of life. First and foremost, our life, prayen alpa kalo yuga janaha manda sumandha matayo manda bhagyayu padratha. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, I think 10th verse, he says. So prayen alpaisha, here he said that human being a short span of life. I don't know next second I'm there or not. That is a fact. I should continuously keep talking about, keep telling myself, yes, my life is very short. I don't know how long I'm there. With the examples of Parishit Maharaj, at least he had a notice of 7 days. Katwanga had a notice of few kshana. Maybe I may not have that also. So the point is that we have a very, very short span time. Our time is very limited. That limited time is, but those who are engaged in devotional service, in the translation says that, go back to Godhead. That is a real success. That is a path of liberation. And for such persons, there is nothing which is not available. This is the really striking sentence for me. And Prabhupada, in the purport also, he is repeatedly says that for such person there is nothing impossible, nothing is not available. When we take up the devotional service, there's nothing stops. Whatever the material things, everything comes. Actually, Prabhupada says that by performing devotional service, we get all the material things, and also spiritual says. I was thinking that should be other way around. We get spiritual, but Prabhupada is so merciful. He says, please do. You get everything. You don't have to do anything else. Such a merciful personality Srila Prabhupada is here. And here translation is, everything is available. So all that I have to do is get into that. That, of course, that surrender is that where I am struggling with that. So that is where all of us should meditate. How can I keep that one step forward? How can I keep, that one step so that I can go closer? Many times we discussed these points, but this is what I should continuously, talk about. One of the lecture, Harilila Prabhu says that we should do something, every day, one step which can take us towards the surrender or towards Krishna. Every day, one step, and it should pinch certain extent. It should be your charity or service or whatever it is. You should give some one step extra, some austerities every day or every week or every month. Something has to be there. Then we'll be able to go fast, because overnight may not be possible for everybody. There could be some devotees who are can take up overnight, but for sadhakas, the sadhana has to be done every day, one step. So that's why Prabhupada in the purport says that to its Lord, the service to the lotus feet of the Lord achieve not only all the material benefits, but also all spiritual benefits. Definitely spiritual benefits there, but Prabhupada is so mercifully saying that we'll get all the material benefits. Many times I struggle in my material work, doing that, doing this, so many things, thinking that with that I'll be able to happy, I'll do something. I mean, in my own experience, I was never happy, and I don't. Even today, I'm not happy in the material. There's so many difficulties. Every day there is one other problems. But here, Prabhupada says that your material things will come anyway, and we all studied like karma. Whatever position today, whatever my intelligence, my education, my position, or my family, all because of my past deeds. It's nothing. I do something today. Is my success today is not just because of my effort today. It's a result of my past karma. So when everything comes, of course, it doesn't mean that I should not put effort. I should, but whatever I'm destined, it will come anyway. And when there is such a guarantee is there, what is the need for doing so many things? I mean, that's the point we should meditate. When anyway my material things will come, in many places Krishna also says that you don't have to worry about your material things. I will take care of that. All that you do, your little service, that is what Srila Prabhupada is pointing out here. And that supreme abode, that's what real success is. That's what we can get. And that is what Neshkarmyam means, that transcendental knowledge. So we many times here, I'm again talking about myself, we hear this knowledge, but how much I am putting into practice, how much I am applying it to my life, that is what real matter. Theory is easy, practice is the challenge. How much I am practicing, that is important here. For me, that is a real success. That's what Prabhupada says, that is a real success. Otherwise, nothing. And Prabhupada, generally the process of jnana, yoga, and karma are executed after life of before one gets the chance to render pure devotional service. That means those who have come to the ISKCON, come to the devotional service, have done all these things. Jnana, yoga, karma, all we are done. That's why we are here, because otherwise it's not possible. And here also, if you, after getting this human body, if I'm trying to get into this again, this is the real waste of time. Prabhupada in the purpose says is kind of a suicide. We are killing ourselves, that is the extent. And Prabhupada says here, this chance is given by grace of pure devotee. Yes, that is a point here. So all of us, at least for me, my Siksha Gurus, the continuous effort. I still remember from 2001 or 2002 to 2010, every week he used to call me, Prabhu, please come for Bhakti Vishra, please attend this, please. Even if I'm so many times I don't answer his call or I don't respond, but he never gave up. He continuously called. Today, if I'm there today, it is because of him. My Siksha Guru, His Grace, Siddha Gauranga Prabhu. And not only that, there are other devotees, so many other devotees who helped continuously, pushing me. And of course, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, how he so mercifully engages in various services. Now today in our temple, ISKCON South Bangalore, how His Grace Narahari Prabhu and others engages us in one-on-one services. some or other so mercifully, even if I'm having so many excuses, okay, that this some or other engage, because that is the real grace of pure devotees. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. How we got this chance by grace of. So we should be very, very thankful. We should be very grateful to such and wonderful devotees who gave this service for devotional service, which we can do in this human body, otherwise not possible. And here, Prabhupada says, they were not as fortunate as Pṛthu Mahārāja and his wife, the denizens, the wives of demigods. They're saying, we are not that fortunate, even in the higher planetary systems, where all kind of material opulence is there, long span of life is there. But they feel that we are not fortunate because they have to come back. Later he says, Krishna Punya says that I have to come back again. But here I have an opportunity. Prabhupada's mercy, Prabhupada disciples' mercy, and our local devotees' mercy, we have the opportunity to serve Lord, and that is a real service which even demigods cannot get it. They are also aspiring to get that. So Prabhupada says, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Whichever the planet system, they have to come back here. So that is the real fortunate we are into. So Prabhupada is talking about 921. Kshine Punye. Like whatever today I have, it is my position, or again I'm repeating, my material, money, wealth. It's it's a temporary. It is because of my karma. If I don't engage that in Krishna service, it will be taken out. It will go. Anyway, it will go. But if I engage that in Krishna service, that will be my real good fortune. That is what I would like to say. And Prabhupada says here, Neshkarmamapi achyuta bhava varjitam. He says the path of liberation is not at all secure unless one attains the devotional service of the Lord. The liberation, nobody else can give liberation. Only Mukunda, Vishnu, Lord, Krishna can give liberation. No other demigod can give a liberation, if at all. And even devotees, we are not even aspiring for liberation. Like Billamangal Thakur says, Mukti is waiting outside the door. I'm not interested. I want the service, that lotus feet of the Lord. So even devotee like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that life after life, we want service at the lotus feet of Nadhanam, Najanam, Nasundarim. We don't want anything. That's the mood in which a bhakta is performing devotional service. I should. So here Prabhupada says, even those devotees, what can be said about ordinary yogis and karmis who can only elevate to the higher material planets? Whatever the gymnastic, Prabhupada many times says this people are doing, or somebody is creating some mystic, somebody maybe create some ash from this, somebody create a small piece of gold, whatever, or somebody may walk on the fire, somebody may walk on the water. These are all small mystic magic. That's all. What do they do? There is one story said that there was a person who went Himalaya for 25 years, perfecting the mystic power of walking on the water. So he came back to the village. After coming to village, he was showing to the people that yes, he can walk on the water. So the villagers, the head, he said that the talent is worth of 25 paisa, because if I pay the 25 paisa, the boatman will take me out of one side to other side. That's all. Your 25 years is worth only that. So the mystic power, all those things is worth nothing. Whereas here, the service to the Supreme Lord, that is what real benefit is that. So in Bhagavad Gita, 1 second. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Yogina Mapi Sarvesham Madgaten Datanatmanaha Shraddhavan Bhajate Yoma Yoma Same Yukta Mattamo Bata. He says that of all the yogis, one who is great faith and who attains or who always abides me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and the highest of all. That is my opinion. So Krishna is saying that what is real yoga? What is real the devotional service? Think of him and within him and render transcendental loving service. And he is always with him. And that is a guarantee Krishna is giving. Similarly, 9 chapter 22 verse Ananya Chintayanto ma yome jana paripasate tesham nityayuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. He says yogakshema vahamyaham. He says, but those who are always worship me with exclusive devotion, that's the most important. He says how he will take care of us, how, he says that I will carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So just by doing the devotional service, we don't have to worry for anything else. He takes care of everything else, material, spiritual, all that requires that ananya chintayantoma, that without any other, thinking, like Rupa Goswami says, anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena anushilana bhaktiruttam. Without any other abhilasha, it's only one, without any jnana karma, that is anukulena anushilanam. That's the way Krishna wants, and that's what Krishna wants, and that is what bhaktiruttama. Here also, 9th chapter, Krishna is guaranteeing that. So yoga kshema vahamyam, he says, I'll carry what they lack and I'll preserve what they have. So I don't have to do extra effort to get material things or acquire or retain my material things. All that requires is that ananya chintayantam. Just a crude material example. Once I was reading the Dhirubhai Ambani, the founder of the Ambani Group, Reliance Group. He was telling, when somebody asked what is the secret of success, he says that I just take care of my employees, the rest they'll do it. The same Krishna takes care of every devotees. All that we have to do is that we have to do our service. When we do our service, Krishna takes care of that. We don't have to take care. Like how a child don't have to think, what is I'm going to eat, next meal. Mother takes care of it. Similarly, Krishna takes care of all our needs. What is our duty is to take up the service and ananya chintayantama. So without any deviation, just serve him. Like there is a story of one of the lecturers, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu was mentioning this story. In Tamil Nadu, one of the Alvar was there. That Alvar, not like other Alvars who have written so many poems, he was not that, kind of, what do you call, the famous. But see the devotion such that when he comes in front of Ranganath, Krishna, his tears were flowing from his eyes, just looking at darshan of this Supreme Lord. So he will keep wiping the tears and again, keep taking darshan. In that process, he was so immersed in the verse, in the taking darshan of the Lord, he totally forgot what is happening in and around. So that is a time the pujaris were taking the Utsava Murti out for procession. Normally they'd have village procession of the Lord. So this person was standing in the way. He was totally, immersed taking darshan of the Lord. He could not see, he could not hear what's happening. The pujari, who were carrying the Lord's Utsava Murti, was bringing palanquin to take Lord. So this person was obstructing. So he kind of shouted at this person, but this person did not listen. So the pujari took a coconut, hit to the head of this person. So blood started oozing, and this pujari took the palanquin inside the altar, and he was trying to take the Utsav-murti, but Utsav-murti was not coming. Utsav-murti was so heavy, he could not even lift, and looked at the deity. Deity's head was oozing the blood. Utsav-murti's head was oozing with the blood. So the pujari got scared, and the matter was reported to the head pujari. And Lord came in the dream of the head pujari and said that my devotee was hit today. I will not come out. I don't want to come out of this sanctorium altar today. And he said that if possible, take that person in the palanquin, take on procession today. I will not come. So that day, this devotee, of course, he was so humble. He was actually pleading, don't do this. But they requested him. They made him to sit on the palanquin. He was taken on a procession to the whole village in place of Ranganath. So now, point I'm trying to drive is that how devotional service, how Lord reciprocates. Lord's so much merciful that he's ready to take, pain on his head. Like how how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Haridas Thakur was beaten 22 marketplaces. Later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Haridas, hey Haridas, all this time you was beaten so mercilessly by the soldiers. But see my back, all this beaten I have taken, because that's how the Lord reciprocates. Here also, Lord took the hit of this coconut on his head, and not only that, he made sure that the devotee is taken care. So the lesson for us, that for me, is that how devotional service, and also how I should take care of other devotees. That is a point Lord is pointing out. Like even my material things, like Narasimha Kavacha we read, right? Putranam dhanam loke dirghai upajayate yam yam kamayate kamam tam tam prapnoti asamshaya. He says whatever one desires in this world can attain without doubt, just worshiping the Supreme Lord. We don't have to do anything else. Everything comes. That's byproduct it is. The material things are kind of a byproduct which comes anyway. We don't have to worry for that. In one of the lectures, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu says that one who chants 32,000 times the Narasimha Kavacha, their guarantees, going back to Godhead is guaranteed. So of course he's referring to some Puranas. I don't remember which Purana is referring to. The point I'm again trying to is that devotional service guarantees our success, our real success in the material life, real success from this human body. So that is the point we are trying to drive. Like another example, how the hearing of glories of the Lord and speaking the glories of the Lord, how Lord or other demigods reciprocates. There was a story of Pundana. Pundana, in Kerala, one of the Shiva temple, he used to come and recite Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this particular temple, it's only, I think, 10 days in a year they give darshan of the Lord Shiva. And those 10 days, Pundana was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was speaking of Rukmini Swayamvara Katha. And every day, Lord Shiva will come and change the bookmark. Pundana will recite and speak and go home. Next day, he'll come and the same bookmark is there. I mean, he did not realize it because he's in such a transcendental mood. He was not realizing what he's speaking. But many of the listeners were saying, why Pundana is repeating same thing? But still they were enjoying because so sweet and so enjoyable. So at 10 days it's happening. And last day, Pundana went out after the class, but he forgot to take the Bhagavatam. So he came back to collect his Srimad Bhagavatam. When he came back, the temple was closed, but he could see he could hear somebody speaking inside. So to the window hole, he was watching Lord Shiva sitting on Vyasasana, Mother Parvati sitting down, and Lord Shiva speaking same Rukmini Swayamvara Katha. He's repeating Same. And he says, Pundana said like this. Pundana said like this. Lord Shiva is telling to Mother Parvati, this is how Pundana explained this. And after that, Lord Shiva asked Parvati, how was my class today? So Parvati said, yeah, class is very good, but Pundana's is better. He is much better. So this is how pure devotees, the even glorification of the Lord is even appreciated not only by the Lord, even our demigods, all Devi Devatas, they appreciate so much because they also want to hear, because that is the only way to, get liberation. Like there's another pastime, how Lord reciprocates, for a pure devotees. In Kumbhakonam, there is a temple. In that particular temple, only Brahmanas by birth, those who are allowed, others were not allowed. There was one great devotee. Of course, he was not born in a Brahmana family. So when he came to take darshan, the pujaris did not allow him. Like we know how what happens in Udupi, Kanakadas. Similar here, when this devotee was not allowed to take darshan, he was chastened out. So after some time, when this pujari went inside the altar, the deity is rotating. Deity is sleeping position, but is rotating. The pujari was shocked. What's happening? And when he came out, he saw this devotee was circumambulating outside, and this deity want to see that devotee. And whenever it turns, this devotee and deity also turns. How mercifully this deity of Lord want to see the Lord. Because, in one of the lecture, His Holiness Radhanath Swami says that when you go to temple, don't go to see the Lord. Go in such a mood that Lord sees you. That's the mood in which, the same devotee here. So even though he was not allowed to see the Lord, how Lord want to see him. So that's how the Lord reciprocates. So that's how the Prabhupada says here, how the pure devotees reciprocate. They somehow or other engage us in some of the services so that we can progress in our life. Similarly, in Bhagavatam, it talks about, when Putana's pastime, it says, any person who hears with the faith and devotion about how Krishna, the Supreme Personality Godhead, killed Putana, and thus invest his hearing in such a childhood pastime Krishna, certainly attaches attachment to Govinda and Supreme original person. So all that require here is that hearing. But many times I hear, but it doesn't go into my heart. It goes to ears, but doesn't go inside. So that is what I need mercy of the devotees, so that I can hear and practice it. That's what Srila Prabhupada also saying that here in this particular verse, saying we should hear and practice it. When the practice happens, the real nectar comes into. So we'll move on to the next sloka before discussing a few more points. Fourth canto, 23rd verse, 23rd chapter, 28th verse. Sa vanchito bathatmadruk kachrena mahata bhuvi labdha vapargyo manusham vishaye vishajate vishayeshu vishajate. Word by word meaning and translation. Saha, he, vanchitaha, cheated, batha, certainly, atmadruk, the envious of himself, krichrena, with great difficulty, mahata, by great activities, bhuvi, in this world, labdha, by achieving apavargyam, the path of liberation, manusham, in the human form of life, vishayeshu, in the matter of sense gratification, visajjate, becomes engaged. Translation purported by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate the great struggle, and who, after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to attain liberation from miseries, undertakes the difficult task of fruitive activities, must be considered to be the cheated and envious of his own self. Purport. In this material world, people are engaged in different activities simply to achieve little success in sense gratification. The karmis are engaged in performing very difficult activities. Thus, they open gigantic factories, build huge cities, make big scientific discoveries, etc. In other words, they are engaged in performing very costly sacrifices in order to be promoted to the higher planetary systems. Similarly, yogis are engaged in achieving a smaller goal by accepting the tedious practice of mystic yoga. Jnanis are engaged in philosophical speculation in order to gain release from the clutches of material nature. In these ways, everyone is engaged in performing very difficult tasks simply for gratification of the senses. All these are considered to be engaged in sense gratificatory activities or vishaya because they all demand some facility for material existence. Actually, the result of such activities are temporary. As Krishna himself proclaims in Bhagavad Gita 7:2-3, Antavantatu phalam tesham. The fruits of those who worship demigods are limited and temporary. Thus, the fruits of activities of yogis, karmis, and jnanis are empirical. Moreover, Krishna says, Tad bhavati alpa medasham. They are simply meant for men of small intelligence. The word vishaya denotes to sense gratification. The karmis flatly state that they want sense gratification. Yogis also want sense gratification, but they want it to be higher degree. It is their desire to show some miraculous result through the practice of yoga. Thus, they strive very hard to achieve success in becoming smaller than the smallest or greater than the greatest, or in creating the planets like Earth, or the scientist by inventing so many wonderful machines. Similarly, the jnanis are also engaged in sense gratification, and for they are simply interested in becoming one with the Supreme. Thus, the aim of all these activities is sense gratification to higher higher on the or lower degree. The bhaktas, however, are not interested in sense gratificatory practices. They are simply satisfied to get an opportunity to serve the Lord. Although they are satisfied in any condition, there is nothing they cannot obtain, because they are purely engaged in the service of the Lord. The wives of the demigods condemn the performers of sense gratificatory activities as vanchita, cheated. They are so engaged in actually killing themselves, atmaha, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter, 17th verse. Nrinadeham adhyam sulabam sudurlabam phalam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukalena nabhavest vaterenatam puman bhavadbhado nataret sa atmaha. When one wants to cross the large ocean, he requires a strong boat. It is said that this human form of life is good boat by which one can cross the ocean of naissance. In the human form of life, one can obtain guidance of good navigator, the spiritual master. One can also get a favorable wind by the mercy of Krishna, and wind is the instructions of Krishna. The human body is the boat. The instructions of the Lord Krishna are the favorable winds, and the spiritual master is the navigator. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the wind favorably and steer the boat to its destinations. If, however, one does not take advantage of the opportunity, one wastes the human form of life. Wasting time and life is in this way is the same as committing suicide. The word labdha apavargam is significant in this verse because according to Jiva Goswami, apavargyam or the path of liberation does not refer to the merging into the impersonal Brahman, but salokya siddhi, which means attaining the very planet which is where the Supreme Personality Godhead resides. There are 5 kinds of liberation, and one is called Saidja Mukti, or merging into existence of Supreme, or the impersonal Brahman effulgence. However, since there is a chance of one's falling down again into the material sky from the Brahman effulgence, Srila Jiva Goswami advises that in this human form of life, one's only aim should be to go back to Godhead. And the word savanchita indicates that once a person has obtained the human form of life, he is actually cheated if does not make the preparation to get back home, back to Godhead. The position of all non-devotees who are not interested in getting back to Godhead is very much lamentable, for the human form of life is meant for executing devotional service and nothing else. So Srila Prabhupada here again repeatedly saying how the human form of life is so important, and in the human form of life only we can do devotional service. And he says alpamedhasa, it's a small intelligence, it's a even is talking about karmi, jnanis, yogis. They're all doing sense gratificatory in different levels, could be different levels. Some are in higher levels, some are small. But end of the day, they're all into self, sense gratification. One who becomes the smallest or greatest, whatever it is everything is, even if Prabhupada talks about the scientist or the greatest magicians, all are in the same category. Could be degree, could be a little different. That's it. So, but Prabhupada says bhaktas, however, are not interested in sense gratificatory process. They are simply satisfied to get an opportunity to serve the Lord. So this is the statement I would like to take. For me, yes, all other activities is not important. And a given as opportunity service, I should grab, I should take it up and do it that sincerely. So that is what will please. Other day I was talking to His Grace Mahārāja Chaitanya Prabhu. He was talking about it, how Prabhupada is so merciful, how mercifully Prabhupada given this opportunity, and how we should be, grateful to Srila Prabhupada by taking up our service sincerely. So here Prabhupada again talks about how the wives of demigods, they were, actually they're condemning those who are into sense gratification. They says they vanchitaha, they cheated. They cheat themselves and killing themselves. Atmaha. I mean, we are kind of, we are cheating ourselves by not taking up this opportunity. So, and Prabhupada quotes this particular verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. He says that, in the human form of life, one is given a boat. This is a real boat. And we have a wonderful navigator, our spiritual master, Guru, who takes us back to Godhead. He knows what is right, what is wrong. And Guru includes our Siksha Guru, our local leaders. They're all part of that navigator who helps to the supreme navigator, Srila Prabhupada, so that everybody is taken in this body. Because in one of the lectures when Prabhu was saying, in ISKCON, even if you're not able to do anything, be in ISKCON. If you are in ISKCON, some or other devotees will take you. Like in a boat, you don't have to row or you don't have to do anything, but at least go inside, sit inside. That's all required. And of course, that's not the only, here said that we have to do our bit. We have to do our service. We have to take up, more and more services. So that's what here, and the Krishna's mercy, the devotee's mercy, is that the wind which takes us to, right direction and back to Godhead. And otherwise, we will be committing suicide. Jiva Goswami also says here, one's aim should be to go back to Godhead. Otherwise, we are getting cheated. Now, few points, being a human body, we'll talk about that. So the human body is, how important is that? One of the lectures, Amarendra Prabhu, is Grace Amarendra Prabhu, saying that it is like when we would have played snake and ladder game, right? When we were childhood, we have reached 99, and now we need that one to reach 100. If or we are 98, if I get one, I may get snake, I'll go down. I should get that 2 to cross 100. So this human body is like that. We are reached there. We are there almost. But at this stage, if I misuse it, if I don't take it seriously, I may go down. I will not be able to come back very soon. Then Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, the 84 lakhs of species, I'll have to go through it. That is the test we are today. So that the test we have to pass. Like how when Mahārāja asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is that surprising? Says, Ahani Hani Bhutani Gachanti Amalayam Sneha Stavaram Sesha Stavaram Ichanti Kim Ascharyam Athaparam. He says that everybody is going, but I think that no, I'm not going to go. I'm permanent here. That is the thinking process I have. So this is the greatest treasure we got, and the human body. And the greatest treasure is that we are in ISKCON. Greatest treasure is that Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is always used to refer this particular shloka, Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 9th chapter, 29th verse. The translation goes like this: after many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which although temporary, affords one opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, the sober human being should quickly endeavor ultimate perfection of life, the most abominable species of life. And whereas perfection of life, and along with his body, which is always subject to death and has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for human being. This practice in Krishna consciousness is possible for only human being. And we got this, like Purandara Das says, Narajanma Bandaga Naliga Irvaga Krishna Yanabharade. So we are so fortunate. We are double fortunate. We are got this human body. We are in ISKCON. We have this wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada's movement. And with this movement, we can definitely achieve, the real success. Real success, like in Bhagavatam says, Durlabha Manusha Deham Dehino Kshana Banaguraha Tatrapti Durlabha Manye Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. For the conditioned souls, the human body is the most difficult to achieve. Prahlad Maharaj is saying. No, it's not Prahlad, it's some other. So it can be lost at any moment. But I think even that, those who are achieved human life, rarely again association of pure devotees who are dear to the Lord. So here also it talks about the association of devotees. With the help of devotees, with the help of our Siksha Gurus and spiritual master, that mercy, this human body has to be used for the service of the Lord. When that happens, my real success happens. So with this, I'll stop here. We have 5 minutes to other devotees to add, comment, anything. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So just to conclude, just a few points here, that how important is this devotional service and how important human body, how like wives of demigods, they are actually, they're condemning their own position and they appreciating Pṛthu and his wife and those who are the human body. So I should think how fortunate I am, so that I take up this devotional service. If I don't take it up, I'm doing suicide. I'm getting cheated myself, because if I miss this bus, I don't know when I'll get this back again. So that is, and it says time, the praya is getting reduced and time is very short. I don't have much time now. So I have to be very, very serious now to give an opportunity, take up this devotional service nicely. And Prabhupada says, this we got through the mercy of the devotees, with the blessings of devotees. And otherwise, whatever material things, whatever material things I get, it will go anyway, it will go. And I'll get as per my karma, whatever I'm destined. But devotional service is there where I have to be serious and dedicate myself. With this, I'll stop here. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Any comments, any feedback?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dada Pranam. Thank you so much for a wonderful class, and the emphasis on utilizing this human body in the service of Srila Prabhupada, devotional service. I think that's a key message of the class today. Thank you, Prabhuji. I'd like to request the devotees to share any questions or comments or they may have.
Dandot Praman from Prabhu, can you just tell that friends of the sloka, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to refer in Bhagavatam, 11th canto, which one, Prabhu?
Yeah, I'll tell that. I'll say that. 1 second. And I'll tell that. It's 11:9:29, Mataji. Labdhva sudhurlabha idam bahu sambhavanti. 11:9:29.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
For class, ultimately, you said devotional service is the ultimate. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, that was Prabhuji. Thank you for the inspiring class. I didn't understand the word Atmadruk. Atmadruk. Can you elaborate on that?
Atmadruk. 1 second. It's from 28 verse, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Envious of himself.
Yes. So it says that envious of himself. Prabhupada says, he's getting cheated himself. So I'm envious of myself. Atmadruk. Myself, I'm getting envious because I'm doing anything for myself. Prabhupada also says that it's like I'm committing suicide. I'm killing myself. In my spiritual activity, I'm getting killed. So I'm getting cheated myself, and I'm not doing anything I'm envious myself. That is the point Prabhupada is saying. Hope that answers, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I didn't understand the wives of demigods lamenting that they didn't get human body. They are also great devotees, no, Prabhu? Why
Yes.
human beings are have got greater opportunities than them?
So those planetary system, they have the great enjoyment. The one point is that because of the enjoyment and the long life, they are not in a position to perform, devotional service. That's why the heaven or hell, both are not good. Hell, because of the sufferings, we are not able to remember Lord. Heaven, because of the enjoyment, we are not able to remember the God. But here, the wives of demigods, they are appreciating Pṛthu and his wife. They are in the human form, because this is the form only we can go back. Because from Prabhupada says, from this Brahmaloka, there every chance of falling down is there also. Very less chance going back. Maybe some may go back. Yes, they are also doing service, but this is the best place where from here we can go fast directly to the Supreme Lord. That's what my understanding. If anybody else want to add, Sankarshan Prabhu want to add anything, you can add.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just want to add comment. I heard from one of the lectures of Bhakti Rasamrita Mahārāja. He was comparing how the heavenly planets are, because it's difficult to comprehend being this current condition. So his example was quite apt. Like we are living in India, and many youngsters, including myself. So there was a time, we aspired to go to US and settle down in the US.
Yeah.
Because US is a Bhogabhumi. All the facilities are available. Everything you want, they are all available at the fingertip. Whereas in India, we don't have that type of advanced facilities. So Mahārāja was comparing that, you go to US and you have visa for 5 years or 6 years. You stay there, and then after that, you will be kicked out. You'll have to come back. So similarly, the heavenly planets, you go there, you go and enjoy. And after that period, you will be sent back again to your home country, which is, the lower planetary. So that was the example. Yeah. And because the enjoyment is too much, there is no opportunity to think about the Lord. Here, in the earthly planet, you get kicks and butts every time. So at least because of that suffering, we try to think about the Lord. So that's the example again.
Yes, thank you very
Plus,
much.
we have a wonderful ISKCON devotees who somehow or other engage us in service.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Like your entire class reflected your humility and also your gratefulness to the ISKCON, Prabhuji. That's what today I could get.
Please bless me.
Hare
Ravilochana Gauranga Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. I really like that the thing of at least sitting in the boat, if not anything else. I like that point because even though it may sound very easy, it is not that easy because you have to learn to tolerate. That's very important. For emphasizing that, throwing some light of how actually we can be more serious and sincere. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Venugopal Prabhu and Prabhu.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice class. So many points were discussed. I think about I liked Sankarshan Prabhu's explanation also. Particularly also you mentioned about this mystic powers. Even like within being in the Vedic path, we can get bewildered unless we, like you reminded us today, we meditate on the unique, blessing or that we have with particularly in this path of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because so many personalities now, especially in India, the trend, there is at least appreciation of trying to be little traditional, Vedic, or whatever their own definitions of Vedic and Sanatan. And when they speak, some personalities with different kind of appealing personalities, we can get bewildered. So we need to be very clear what is the unique gift of Prabhupada's movement, and that you reminded us. It's easy to get lost in today's times. And also, Shankarshan Priya Prabhu gave example of US comforts. I was thinking
You would have
in India
experienced that.
also. India also, it is happening now. So we also need to be cautious because, particularly my own life, I was thinking, where there can be comforts wherever we are, even in a small place. If you are in a comfort zone, you may not have a comfortable situation, means you may not be having that impetus. So that, yeah, like I see many times those who have very comfortable thing, some people are more, materially they may not be, but spiritually so much more deeply situated. So we need that's the thing, and Kunti Maharani's guidance, like how all these things can be hurdles. Janmaishwarya Shrutashribi. So yeah, these points wanted to just share. Thank you very much. So many other points you mentioned, Prabhu. I don't want to take more time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, you mentioned about Narasimha Kavacha. What's the number of times you said?
Amrendra Prabhu says 32,000 times. I don't know which verse. He is referring some Purana. He says 32,000 times one recites Narasimha Kavacha is guaranteed.
Okay. My mother was always chanting, and even in her last day, she was chanting Narasimha Kavacha. So I've just thank
guaranteed.
You. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotee. If there are any questions, maybe we can end the class with Vaishnava Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhabhyevacha paditana pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That was one of the devotees. I am ending the Zoom session. We will meet again.